Hi guys. Oh, it has been quite the conflicting day for me because weeks. So, we'll see. I feel like I may need to just record this if my internet doesn't want to cooperate. We'll see. I cooperated earlier, but you guys know how it is. So, if I have to just hop off and record it, I still will get it up tonight. Um, Hi, I just wanted to talk about this because I realized, and I've been thinking about, I never actually shared when all of that happened, what my thought process was, and why I did that. Hi, and what I've experienced since. Um, yeah. So I wanted to share. I wanted to talk about it, and I kind of wanted to share what the changes have felt like and what my experiences have been. So, if you have any trouble hearing me, seeing me, if it's going in and out for you guys at all, let me know. Um, and if I'm seeing it having issues on my side, I will try to record it instead. So, it has been 6 months since I started with Young Living. Um, I'd been using oils for, I let you guys know it was I think Christmas time was a year since I had started looking in, seriously actively using oils. And before then, it had just been for um, the support on my hands. Um, it had been probably 3 months before then, at least, that I had been obsessively researching essential oils. So I was researching for a huge amount of time before I actually did anything using oils. And I just really got interested, especially in thinking maybe I should switch out our products. Maybe I should start using more natural stuff, um, less chemicals. There was so much I was seeing, hi, Carrie, that I really got convicted about. Um, and that's what started that. You guys, I think I've shared that. Um, and initially, I was gifted oils. I didn't buy them myself first. And I was gifted oils from a different company that you guys saw I was using. Um, I, since then, and since switching, have noticed differences that I did not even realize before. Um, there's a lot of information out there about oils that is opinion, that is interpreting for you. Um, and I think I've talked about there is extreme differences of opinions on a lot of topics with oils, as far as safety, as far as how you can use them, um, all of that. There is such conflicting information. Depending on who you talk to, you're going to get a different version of what's safe, what's not safe, what dilution ratios you should use, how you use oils. Um, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of different information. I was looking at sources then that talked about usages suggested by, I mean, to be fully honest, by other Young Living distributors, or not by at that time, just Young Living distributors, that, in their opinion, was not safe and not um, the best way to use oils. And a lot of it was making me feel like every time I turned around, I was like anytime I used my oils, I needed to make I knew how to use them safely. I needed to make sure I was following all these guidelines and that I wasn't doing all of these things because otherwise I was going to hurt myself or the cat or the dog or the bird or whatever. I was like it was serious that you had to be careful and you had to follow these things, and it honestly felt like fear inducing. I was constantly afraid of using them wrong to like to enjoy them. I was constantly fearing how I was using them because if I did it wrong, oh my gosh, what was going to happen? Something would go wrong. And I don't think that was the intention behind it. I don't think that was the heart behind it, but in the things I was looking at, in the sources I was going to, that was the only side I heard. And then I started paying more attention to those that were in Young Living, how they talked about it, how they showed themselves using it, um, the time frame they talked about, how long they had been using oils, and learning more and more about the company. Um, and I just got curious, and I just kept thinking, there's got to be something I'm missing. There's got to be some better way of gauging how to use them. Some like better standard that's a little more, maybe takes the good from each and puts them together, like not so extreme on things. And then I talked to, like, I reached out to somebody that I was closely watching, and I said, hey, I love oils. I've already been sharing about me using them, and I'm interested in a bunch of the stuff Young Living offers, but I have questions because I have these concerns that I want to make sure I understand that, if I'm sharing the information I'm getting, I want to know I can trust that source. I want to know where that's coming from. But like I just trying to really understand what the sourcing was. Um, yeah, if that makes any sense. I was just trying to understand what was going on with where they were getting information, how they based things, um, and what information I would have access to if I wanted to start using theirs instead. Um, yeah. So I said, hey, can I ask you questions? And she said, absolutely. What are you curious about? So I asked about oils and pets. I asked about ingestion. Two of the hottest topics within oils by far. Like literally the hottest topics within oils if you are in groups about them, like ever. Um, and I played, like, I feel like I played a really good devil's advocate. I feel like I played a little hardball in that conversation where I seriously kept asking for more information, more detailed explanation. Um, and I wanted to know what that would actually look like. And I even got more after I got using Young Living, and I bought a starter kit. I got hooked into our team Facebook groups after seeing what was in there. There was so much more balance than I expected. there was so much more openness. There was so much more, hey, here's my experience. What do you guys think? Um, there was our community feel to being open to talking about that stuff. Like it wasn't even, I don't know how to explain it. There wasn't fighting over those things. There was legit ability to have a conversation about it. Nobody's forcing you to use them in any way you don't feel comfortable, and nobody's going to suggest that you use them in a way that you don't feel comfortable. They're sharing how they use it, and you are free to ask questions if you want to know more. And there's a ton of resources. There's a huge community behind it that is willing to come beside you and talk to you about it. Um, and there was a wide variety of people with differing opinions on different things, people that, I don't know, were a little more careful, or not careful, were a little more conservative versus like very much more, um, I don't know how to describe it. That's a hard one. Um, Somebody that was a little more conservative with their using versus like all out on certain things. Um, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So then I, because I was kind of still looking at both sources for a little bit in the beginning. Um, Mostly just watching on the conservative side instead of like interacting as much because I wanted to see what was popping up. And um, the my Young Living groups were like huge wells of resources, so I was really interested to learn about their resources too. So I kind of was looking at, and some of the opinions on that side, on the more conservative side, that were very much against those ways of using. Um, I, I, I saw their basis, but I learned beyond that and saw some things that I didn't agree with it anymore. Um, it wasn't necessarily where I lined up with. And not because I was being told otherwise by people from Young Living, but just based off of watching both sides of information, it just didn't click with me anymore. It didn't make sense to me anymore. And before I reached out to my leader, who's now my leader in Young Living, I asked, I didn't ask, I asked her a bunch of questions. I YouTubed a bunch of different stuff. I looked up a ton of different videos on all of these topics, and I ended up finding some much more middle of the road type of perspectives, and that kind of gave me perspective. And a lot of it was just saying, yes, there's things to know, there's things to be aware of, there's things to pay attention to, there's all of that. Absolutely. Um, but you don't have to be that afraid of it. You don't have to go to those extremes. And it was very, I mean, they talked about the controversial ways of using also in that, yeah, maybe, especially when you're first starting out, maybe be very careful with that stuff. And yes, there's reasons that you should do that safely, and there are safety precautions to think about. But it put in perspective, that it wasn't that cut and dry, that didn't mean you had to be scared of trying things, and that it would have to be completely, like, my understanding of it was extreme ways of using it, like to an extreme level. Like, I'm talking, I heard somebody say that from a different person, um, not in Young Living, not a Young Living person, somebody else. They had been, um, they had been recommended a high usage percentage. Of course, that's going to have that potential. Like that's yes. When you're taking it to that level, you're opening yourself up to that. Yes, because there is a reason that you have a certain amount that you put in a roller blend. That there's reasons that there's those ratios you try to go off of. Um Same thing for in a diffuser. Same thing for anything. Like, there is that reason. But when you're using it safely, when you're using it smartly, when I feel like when you're using it with common sense and you're not going extremes with it, there's not anything to be afraid of. And one of the biggest changes I found in myself when I kind of saw that and I got more of that perspective was I didn't feel as afraid to use them. I did still need to be cautious. Absolutely. I did still need to pay attention to that stuff, so I knew what I was doing. Of course, because you can have, if you need to watch for, does your skin react okay to that one? Um, all of those type of stuff. You still want to pay attention to that. That's not saying you don't need to. But there wasn't that fear mongering, that fearfulness that I was feeling, if that makes sense. Um, so that greatly changed my perspective on it. And I feel like a lot of that has helped me feel more confident in learning how to use them more and expanding my knowledge with recipes, with trying different stuff, um, and confidence in helping others who are interested in it, feeling confident in my understanding of it. And that has been really cool. um, so that was what prompted me to actually take that step and switch. Um, and there was other things I saw afterward in using Young Living oils versus another company's where there was like specifically there was one oil that when I used a non-Young Living oil, it gave me a headache. And the Young Living oil does not. There's also been, I've experienced an increase in them being effective. Um, yeah, I saw changes in that as well. Um, and that was just my experience. Obviously, that's just my personal experience with what happened. That's my story. Um, but it just really showed me a whole new perspective, I think. It totally opened my mind a little bit. And yeah, I just got a whole new perspective. So that is what was going on during that whole time period. I realized I never actually about it. I never shared why I experienced afterward. I kind of honestly got a little scared of talking about oils as much after I switched. I think just because I didn't want it to, I don't know, come off as weird with um, switching companies that I was using. I didn't want it to come off as, oh, now I'm in a network marketing company for it, so I want you to use these. I didn't want it to come off salesy by talking about it. Um, I also was very nervous for, I guess, kind of just, I don't know, how it would come off. Um, I think now I'm just rambling, but I got nervous and scared about sharing on here about oils as much after. I have more recently started doing a little bit more, like showing my diffuser in videos. And although I kind of have always enjoyed doing that, but yeah. Hi. So that's what was up. That's what was going down. Um, and I told you guys when I made that video showing that I had switched to Young Living that it wasn't going to be about oils all the time. It wasn't going to be oils all the time all of a sudden just because I had switched and started using Young Living. Um, and I still want to stick to that. So that's what happened in my brain during all of that time. I really intentionally very much took my time. I had spent 3 or 4 months. I mean, okay, so 3 or 4 months before ever getting any oils at all, I spent listening to people talking about it. I spent researching. I spent getting different perspectives, just learning as much as I could. And that was what sparked my interest and sparked me on that journey. And then before I started using Young Living, I spent even more intentional time looking at the company, looking at the products, looking at the people that I followed that used Young Living, and really put all of that to the test and paid attention to that. Um, yeah. So I have just loved that choice that I made, and I feel like it was very much the right choice for me. Um, yeah. So I wanted to share because I realized I hadn't, and I don't think there's any shame in what happened. I don't think there was. I didn't jump into it. I didn't just all of a sudden overnight I changed my mind on all of these things. I had spent months researching it. I had spent months, and by the time I actually joined Young Living, I had spent a year and a half researching oils and watching different people that used them from a wide variety of companies in a wide variety of ways with a huge variety in perspectives on it and safety usage and everything. Um, yeah. So that weekend that I started with Young Living, I spent the entire weekend scrutinizing everything I could and in depthly looking at it and answering those really hard, tough questions that I really cared about because I wanted to know I could trust the information I was getting and the products, and I wanted to know if I shared with people the information I was getting, could I trust that? If that makes sense. Like, people asked me, oh, how do you handle this or that or different things? I wanted to be able to know I could trust the information I was going to be getting. Um, yeah. So, unless anybody has any questions, I can let you guys go. Thank you for bearing with me and hanging out. I hope if some of you were curious, this was interesting to you and gave you a little insight into what was going on and what happened and kind of why. If you have any questions, I would absolutely answer any of them. Just let me know. So, hi, sir. Hi. He's been in and out all day. So, leave me any questions you guys might have. If you want me to start doing anything specific about oils, if you have any specific topics within this that you are curious about or wanted to know more about or what have you, let me know. And I would love to. He's so funny. Okay. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, let me know. And I will let you guys go. Thank you for hanging out and listening. You guys are always so supportive for me, and I appreciate you guys so much. Um, yeah. I am sorry I missed Mental Monday yesterday. We had some family stuff that was just a much higher issue that we needed to pay attention to. So, yes. But I thought it would be fun to do a live stream today. So, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah. Thanks. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a lovely week. We will update you guys as more comes in about everything with foster care and everything. We're still waiting to hear back about some stuff. So, yeah. Okay. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of